hosting. And thanks for your support, Alonzo, and we really look good. You can go back and check us out. You can go in there and you can look at the archived shows.
I'm looking at us now.
You're looking. Oh, really?
Right here.
Oh man. So, folks, we really appreciate him. That's something we started about 3 weeks ago. So we're going to take a couple more callers, and we're going to speak to our special guest, mayoral candidate Bill Doc Walls. And we've got, we got Tommy on the line here. Good morning, Tommy.
Well, first of all, good morning, Mr. Borges. Good morning, Don. Good morning, Mark. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Tommy.
Mayoral candidate, hopeful, Mr. Walls, and my
Good morning, Tommy.
Mr. G.
And I just want to leave you guys with this. Mr. Walls, the states are big enough to fail, and they fail basically because of the corruption that goes on in the state. More importantly than that, they fail even more simply because the Justice Department, which is supposed to be the highest land in the United States of America, turns a blind eye to the absolute things that are happening. And it is an amazing thing to me that as you look at this mayoral race, I find it absolutely appalling what they have done to you and to the other candidate whose name they just act like you guys don't exist. But in the reality of the whole scheme of things, when you look at the fact of Rahm Emanuel coming to Chicago, getting off the plane with money, and everybody else scrambling around here trying to get money, and then you look at the fact that on every other ethnicity, there's two in the Latino organization, there's three in the black organization, and it continues to amaze me why no one seems to recognize that Rahm Emanuel and Jerry Chico are machine politicians and stuff. So therefore, in a logical way of looking at all this stuff is slanted so that the same old thing is going to continue to happen. And I leave you with this. Mr. Borges, I told you that so-called storm that's over the ocean that's headed this way, now you see what's going on in Wisconsin and all across the world and stuff. And isn't it interesting that nobody is talking about the very theme of it all? People are hurting educationally, financially, health-wise, and we keep on with these little sound bites that really don't add up to nothing. Bless all you guys.
Okay. Tommy, you always make a lot of sense, and I really appreciate you.
Yeah.
And the thing that we have to do is stay focused because at the end of the day, it's votes that matter. It's not what the media has said. It's not what the media has done. Election day, we have an opportunity to prove them wrong, and we will if everybody goes out and punches 11 with solidarity.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for your comments, Tommy. It looked as if Eunice had called, and then I guess she hung up. But again, Eunice, if you're listening, our prayers are with you, and sorry about the loss of your children. I know that has to be very devastating to you. I don't know what happened to the call, but we did mention you. We miss you because you're always on the air with us, and just very tragic what was happening in your family, and I'm sorry. But we all are praying for you. Okay, we have Watson on the line. Watson. Good morning, Watson. Watson.
Good morning.
Not Sherlock Holmes, but Watson, go ahead.
Thank you for taking my call,
computer.
and good morning to you and all you guests. The question that I have is, how is it that Mr. Rahm Emanuel ends up as the single Caucasian candidate in the midst of all of the other Tom Dots and the like, and we still have three candidates, African-American candidates, whom we know all three of them in the race cannot get elected? How did that happen? Can you expound on that just a little bit?
I, for one, am not willing to concede that we cannot get elected. I'm assuring you that there's going to be a runoff, especially if people turn out in big numbers and vote on election day. This is not the kind of election where you have to have a one-on-one, one black candidate against one white candidate against one Latino candidate. We proved during the county board election that people can vote for the right candidate and make certain that we are participating at the end of the day. So all I'm suggesting that you do is look beyond all of the other circumstances and recognize that if we vote for the best candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago, and that just happens to be me, we will win without equivocation.
Okay, yeah, no one's conceding the election, although all the polls put Mr. Emanuel far in front, but as we said, we need a runoff.
As
I
we said
think
at
that's-
the
in
top of
many
the
of the
hour.
African American
I mean, that-
communities, he's polling out at better than 50%.
And you know, polls are a snapshot, and polls can be manipulated. I think there's an article in the paper today that talks about the polls and the frivolity of them, and the fact that polls say what you want them to say, and they're usually intended to give you an impression, to create an impression. I don't believe the polls because I'm out here talking to people on a regular and ongoing basis, and these are people who aren't polled. Additionally, they don't poll people with cell phones. They don't poll people who are usually not at home, people who are out here working every day. So the polls only matter to those people who believe in them. Most people don't believe in them. And I believe that if we get out and vote on Election Day like it matters, vote our conscience, vote for the best candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago, we're going to surprise even the media, and they can be surprised.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that's true because people pay a lot of money for polls. Polls are not free, and they pay a lot of big dollars for polls. And you can everybody has an opinion about polls, but there are some people who
You must concur that it is a snapshot.
It is a snapshot.
It's just a snapshot.
But
It's that.
I'm saying to you that when the final results come out, they're usually pretty close. There's rarely there are times where the polls have been way off in terms of final
But it's
decisions. on
it's
election.
very crucial. You must agree that
It is-
it's
it's
quite
absolutely.
crucial that the black community, and this is Bill Doc Wall's forum, and I don't want to
No
encroach
problem.
on that,
Oh, no.
but the black community must flex its muscles in this race. In this, well, it's not a primary. We must show that we are forced to be reckoned with. We must have our interests represented on this time.
Well,
on
how
this
come we haven't
occasion.
done that in the past 20 years? I mean,
Whatever
it's
the reason
awful
we
strange to
haven't
me
done, we
that
must
we have
do
to
it
flex
now.
our muscles
We must
now,
do it
and we
now.
haven't done it in the past
Because
21
in the
years.
past 20 years, you were running against Daley, who's a juggernaut. Rahm Emanuel is not that same kind of candidate. He does not have sway in our community. He has not bought and sold the entire black community. He has not held the entire black community hostage. The bottom line is there have been surprises. Jesse the Body Ventura, an absolute surprise in Minnesota. That can happen right here in the city of Chicago. So until we get defeated, let's not develop a defeatist attitude. Let's make certain that we fight every minute of every day to make a difference because our lives are dependent upon it. We have people who are calling in and saying, you know, if Rahm Emanuel gets elected, I'm leaving Chicago forever. I'm going to have a heart attack. People take this very, very seriously. And I know from talking to people out here in the street that people aren't sold on this Rahm Emanuel for mayor nonsense and that they are going to come out. and
Well,
vote
I'm
in
not
big
so
numbers.
sure it's Rahm Emanuel for mayor nonsense. I mean, I think that it is a little bit insulting to look at African American people and to be monolithic that they have to vote for an African American person because they're the same. You vote for whom you believe is your best candidate.
I said over and over again, I don't want to be the black candidate for mayor. And I said again today, if people vote for the best candidate, you'll never hear me talking about a black candidate. I thought it was a major mistake to even talk about a black consensus candidate. Had we had a process that, like we had in 2007, that was simply intended to find the best candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago, we could have order in this process. But because some people felt that it was important to go out and find a black candidate, and I refused to participate in that process. I made it clear I did not want to be the black consensus candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago because I'm the best candidate. I'm the only candidate who's willing to go out here and create 100,000 self-perpetuating private sector jobs.
But you did participate in that process because you showed up at all of those the meetings.
I did not participate in that process. I showed up at a meeting where all candidates were supposed to have been invited, and there was nothing in the title that indicated black. As a matter of fact, I invited Fred White to come and speak, who's a white candidate, because I thought that all candidates were invited to speak. And when he got there, they told him that he couldn't participate. I made it clear to that body, I am not seeking your endorsement as the black candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago because I'm the best candidate for mayor of the city of Chicago. I never participated in those discussions, and even when they brought people over to Rainbow Push, they didn't bring me in because I wasn't in that category. So no, I did not seek to be
So
the black consensus candidate.
You didn't show up at any of the meetings that they were holding for a consensus
No,
candidate.
I was not at those meetings.
You were at two of the meetings that I was at.
What meetings were those?
At the University on Oakland. Well, what is it?
You're saying we're
Northeastern
Alderman
Illinois.
Burnett and
You
what-
were you were at two of those
That was
meetings.
not a meeting about a black consensus candidate at Northeastern Illinois
Sure it was.
University. No,
That was
not-
that was the discussion.
You're talking
of
about the
meeting.
Task Force for Black Political Empowerment?
Well,
that was not part of that consensus process.
This is
Okay.
a part. This
All
is
right,
a
let's-
part of what I think
okay.
is a problem.
The discussion
what
is
part of the
good.
process is that I think if we're going to talk about this, it should be open and it should be honest and it should be truthful.
Oh, this is very
about
honest and
what
truthful.
The
The
process
Task
is.
Force for Black Political Empowerment is totally separate from the Black Consensus Candidate. I've attended meetings all over the city of Chicago in white communities, Latino communities, African American communities, all over. But those weren't Black Consensus Candidate meetings. So the only Black Consensus Candidate meetings were held by that group, that body that was chaired by Walter Burnett. No, I did not participate in those meetings. So don't distort the truth.
All right. Okay, we're going to, I'd just like to ask one question. If Rahm Emanuel had not had the connection to President Obama, do you think he would be receiving all
Rahm
of this?
who? That's what it would
Yeah, I
have
mean,
been.
would he be receiving all of this support from the black community?
No.
Or are blacks saying, well, because of his connection to Rahm, I'm voting, or his connection to Obama, that's why I'm voting for Rahm Emanuel? I mean, let's tell like it is. I
And
mean,
equally,
does
well,
that
I'm
have a big
listen,
impact?
political equity is political equity, and capital is political capital.
And that's why it's
And
essential
Why is it now? It is a problem for a person to use their political capital, or it's being demonized for this person to use their
Well,
political
not
capital.
so much as it's demonized. I think it's more important that the black community exercise and flex its muscle and make sure that its interest is being recognized. We cannot just send someone in a virtual
but
primary
black
to the mayor's
community-
office
The black
right now.
community should show up and vote, but the black community can't just stop at the voting poll
No.
and to stand up and
I
flex
know he
its
should be a
muscle.
pass-through for
It
Rahm
absolutely
Emanuel.
should be absolutely. The
Or
black
anyone else.
community needs to stand up even beyond that. Even if there is a black mayor, whoever the mayor is,
That is true.
The black community needs to stand up and make sure that its interest is represented.
And that's
And
why
we
the
have not done that as a community.
The fact that Rahm Emanuel worked with Barack Obama should simply be a factor for consideration. And then you look at the body of this man's record, having voted against the Black Caucus 128 times on issues that were important not only to the black
But there are other
community
issues
here,
that he voted
but also
for that were
important to the
extremely
African
important
American.
for
He
the
voted for three
African-American
things for the
communities.
African American community. So a person that votes against the interest of the African American community 128 times is not someone who's worthy of our vote. Someone who's bought and sold by big business and corporate contributors who will not have our interest at stake and at heart is not somebody that you should vote for. Someone who doesn't have a program that ensures that we're going to have participation at the level that we deserve here in the city of Chicago is not worthy of your vote. Someone who believes in private schools rather than public schools is not worthy of your vote. Someone who is not willing to create jobs when jobs are needed right here in the city of Chicago is not worthy of your vote. Someone who doesn't understand the importance of ensuring that our children are safe in the city of Chicago, and his plan is 1,000 policemen out of TIF dollars. TIF funds are intended for blighted communities. So if you fund the police department with TIF funds, then you have policemen who are serving downtown using money from blighted communities. Someone who had the authority when he was chief of staff to President Barack Obama to bring policemen into Chicago when children were dying in the streets and did absolutely nothing, didn't even raise his finger to say, I feel your pain and I have sympathy for you. He's not deserving of your vote. There is nothing in Rahm Emanuel's record that shows a connection to a community of people who are struggling, who are starving, a community of people who are bereft of services that would suggest that anybody should vote for Rahm Emanuel. So, yes, you can
Okay.
consider that as a factor, but that alone is not sufficient for
I think
a vote.
that
Okay.
part of the issues that I have with any campaign is that I'm interested in listening to the rhetoric of substance from anybody who's running from a public office, and I have not heard that.
Well, let's talk about my
well,
let's talk about my
yeah, well,
let's talk about my platform.
Hold on a second.
So what I'm
But
just saying
finish
is,
up.
what I'm saying is that I'm more interested in hearing about what you would do if you become the mayor of the city of Chicago. Not about bashing Rahm or
I don't bash
bashing
Rahm.
any other.
Well, let's talk
candidate.
about it. Let's
All right,
take
hold
this
on a
time
second.
to talk
We've
about
got a lot of callers here, so let's just take a couple more callers first, and we can segue into some of your platform, Doc.
That's important.
Yes, Daryl, you're listening